Welcome, my soccer universe, to a review of match day 7 of the Europa League, if you would like, the working class of Europe. It is the most tight competition of all three of the European club competitions. In fact, after this match day, the difference between Rangers in 13th and Porto in 25th, so the first spot that does not qualify for the playoffs, is just a measly 3 points, so a lot to play for. But like in the Champions League, we already have quite a few decided things, while mathematically some of the teams that I mark with 100% qualified could still fall out in the simulations. It barely happens, so you could give them a strong case for actually having qualified. The sensation to me is definitely Lazio, who are under Marco Baroni having a great Europa League campaign, sitting now with 3 points clear on top of the table and a much superior goal difference. It needs a major collapse of theirs to not qualify as the first place team and having the top seed. However, the chase for the second seed, that is definitely on. However, also on the bottom of the table, we saw some pretty big results. We saw Dynamo Kiev getting the first point. We saw a Latvian team for the first time winning and completely spoiling the Dutch party that we had this week. Ajax losing there. The Greek teams doing rather well. Olympiacos getting a shock win away at Porto. And PAOK also, after a rather slow start to the campaign, rising up in the table and having a chance of being even seeded in the playoff round. I would say, let's review all the games and then we put it all in context. And then we also look at the final matches. With all three Istanbul teams having home games in match day 7, we had to have games on Tuesday and on Wednesday also. In the Tuesday game, Galatasaray only managed a 3-3 draw despite a 2-0 and a 3-0 lead against Dynamo Kiev. Sanchez and Bardakci giving them the early lead before Vanna, just before the halftime break, pulls one back as Osimhen with a penalty re-establishes the 2-goal lead. You think that Galatasaray might hang on, which would be crucial for the top 8 hopes, but Yarmolenko then with a brace pegs them back. The first points for Dynamo Kiev and huge points drop for Galatasaray, who may not qualify among the top 8. The Wednesday game in Istanbul gave us a little surprise with Besiktas beating Athletic Club 4-1 at home. Rashica scoring the first 2 goals, all assisted by Rafa Silva, who then gets the third one. Later on, João Mario with a penalty gets the final scoreline. In the meantime, Unai Gomez had equalized. This game definitely meant more for Besiktas, who are now with a chance of surviving into the playoffs, whereas Athletic Club still look rather safe in finishing top 8. However, top of the league, that's probably not in the cards anymore. In the Thursday games, AZ faced elimination should they lose to Roma at home. However, they get a win because Roma really had a hard time breaking them down, didn't play with a lot of urgency and especially lacking in creativity despite having more chances. It is then Parrot who came on in the 80th minute who give AZ the win, a win that sees them almost qualify for the next round, while Roma are now in danger of being eliminated. A rather odd turn of events. After 2 wins on a bounce, Maccabi Tel Aviv also took the lead in Bodø, 12th minute through Peretz, and the win actually would have meant to have a serious shout in advancing to the playoff round. However, Bodø turning around Höch in the first half, getting the equalizer, Evjen and a Höch penalty, getting Bodø the fully deserved win. Bodø now even with a chance of finishing among the top 8. A messy game in Porto saw Olympiacos get a 1-0 win away from home, and who else but El Kaabi gets the winning goal. The game was not a really good one, Porto having maybe the better of the first half. However, the game fizzled out and in the end El Kaabi with a clinical strike slays Porto, who are now outside of the top 24 and in serious danger of not qualifying, while Olympiacos sit quite pretty mid-table. In the last Istanbul home game, Fenerbahce only managed a 0-0 draw against Lyon in a game that got worse and worse the more the game went on, because Lyon just shut up shop. They are now in the top 8, whereas Fenerbahce are precariously hanging just on the edge of qualifying for the playoffs. In a must-win game for Hoffenheim, Spurs do get the away win, a 3-2 at the German side. Madison are in the 3rd minute setting the path onto victory. Then Son, yes, it was a deflected shot, doubling up the lead. Hoffenheim actually did have some chances, especially in the second half. Kramaric hit the upside of the post. There was another chance there. They seemingly had gotten a penalty that then was called off, but then Stach within 10 minutes Son reestablishes 2-goal lead, and there's only another consolation goal for Hoffenheim late on. Spurs sitting rather comfortably in the top 8. However, is this enough to keep Postecoglou in place? In a bottom of the table duel, Twente get a 3-2 away win at Malmö, keeping the chances alive of making the playoffs, whereas Malmö are already eliminated. However, it also has to be said that Twente won thanks to two rather questionable penalties, Stein and Van Wolfswinkel converting these. Lagerbleke then even makes it 3-1 before Christiansen in the 79th minute ignites the game a little bit more. It is a much needed win for Twente, however, is it enough? That we'll see on match day 8. High-flying Anderlecht suffered their first defeat in Pilsen, a team that only has lost to Manchester United so far, and it was a fully deserved win, especially in the first half. Pilsen were all over Anderlecht, scoring the first goal through Cerf in the 3rd minute, having a penalty, the Schultz save, hitting twice the woodwork before Adu actually makes it 2-0 before the half. Second half then fizzled out. Anderlecht now just about in the top 8, whereas Pilsen actually do have a chance of going directly into the round of 16. In the late kickoffs, Frankfurt got a 2-0 home win over Ferencváros, wasting tons of chances in the first half. Also, Ferencváros goalie Dibuš had to come off with an injury as well. Frankfurt then take the deserved lead through Özün in the 49th minute. Really great shot, and another shot gets blocked into the path of Ekitike, who 10 minutes later scores a 2-0. There was a penalty that fortunately did not get given because it was not really a handball, but overall Frankfurt deserved their win, sitting now second in the table, while Ferencváros joined the club of the ones just hanging on to a top 24 spot. Generally, French teams have performing well in Europe this season, but this does not apply to Nice, who lose at Elfsborg 1-0. The winning goal came in the 62nd minute after an hour of almost nothing. Then Nice actually tried to push for an equalizer, but just some goal line clearances. In the end, I think Elfsborg even deserved their win that gives them a fair chance of making the knockout stage. With most of the top teams so far in the Europa League dropping points, Lazio now ride solely on top, winning 3-1 at home to Real Sociedad. The game turned early in their favor. Gil in the 5th minute giving them already the lead. A goal by Tati Castellanos was disallowed. Then Munoz is sent off in the 30th minute, and 2 minutes later Sagani doubles the lead, and Tati Castellanos just a few minutes later makes it 3. Second half then, the game completely fizzled out. Yes, Barrenechea pulls one back, but it was too little too late. Lazio, the class of the Europa League. Ludogorets were hoping for the first win in their last home game of the campaign. However, Osorio with a thunderous shot in the 18th minute gave Midtjylland the lead, and then plenty of chances for Ludogorets. However, they pull out the goalie, it's an empty net, and Zico from the halfway line more or less in the 95th minute scores an empty net goal, result that almost qualifies Midtjylland for the next stage. It definitely was the fixture that grabbed most of the headlines. United against Rangers, the Battle of Britain, and it started with Rangers actually taking advantage a little bit of the frailties in the United defense, but they did not score. The only team that did score was United with De Ligt heading it in. However, there was a foul by Euro around him as well, so the goal was chalked off. The game then turned with a rather bad goalkeeping error. It was an Eriksson corner that Butland boxes into his own net, and then United were on top of it. Probably should have scored a second one, but the equalizer then came in the 88th minute when a long ball by Tavernier is on one side misjudged by Maguire. On the other side, he's also pushed by Dessers, who then very nicely takes it down, gets the equalizer, and you think United are dropping points again? No. Great cross in by Lisandro Martinez, and in stoppage time Bruno Fernandes scores the winner. United have not lost in the Europa League, so this is positive news for United, and are actually very much set on finishing in the top 8. Rangers probably will remain among the seeded teams. After a slow start to their campaign, PAOK get a third win with a 2-0 home win over Slavia Praha in a very frantic game, to be honest. There were chances on both sides. A Hitil goal for Slavia was called off for offside, but it's then a penalty where Schwab is pushed in the back while he was heading it towards goal, and then Schwab himself, Austrian, converts, makes it 1-0 for PAOK, and right after the half, a pressing moment allows Constantelias to score via the inside of the post. PAOK now moving up the table, still in the unseeded spots, but with a chance of going seeded, whereas Slavia Praha are eliminated. Undoubtedly, the shocker of the evening came in Latvia, where Ajax played rather slow and uninspired, and Fitzjim was the tragic hero, missing two pretty good chances and then also losing the ball that allows in the 78th minute Machiev to run onto goal, take a shot from outside the box and scoring the winner for a first win not only for RFS but for a Latvian team in a European group stage. Absolute disappointing performance by Ajax, who completely cloud the overall good performance by Dutch teams this week. Meanwhile, Union Saint-Gilloise largely dominated the game, however, found themselves down through an El Ouazzani goal to Braga in the 16th minute, but in the second half, Innsbruck-born Kroat Ivanovic turns it around, getting the equalizer in the 50th minute and scoring the winner in the 74th. Then the teams were also trading yellow-red cards, and a goal from Niang was called off for an offside as well. Union Saint-Gilloise looking quite pretty in the table overall. They will most likely qualify for the playoffs, whereas for Braga, it's a steep hill to climb on the last match day. When I look at the overall standings, I mean Lazio in first place seems to be a given. Frankfurt Athletic Club also have already qualified as a seeded team, and I think things also look good for United, who are only one of three yet unbeaten teams. The other ones being Lazio and Galatasaray, who have too many draws. They might be the most entertaining team in the entire competition, however, as I said, two little wins, and so Galatasaray find themselves more on the outside looking in and may have to go through a playoff. But then it's really tight. Well, realistically, the top 18 will all qualify for the playoffs. The question is, will they end up seeded or unseeded? And yes, and that will very much depend on the final results. However, then on the second half of the table, we get into the area where teams might actually fall out. Midtjylland looks safe, Elfsborg looks safe. Roma have still a 90% chance of qualifying. However, the last game at home is not an easy one. And with the performance they put in last time around, I could very well see that there is an upset. On the outside looking in, we have two Portuguese teams, Porto and Braga, as well as Twente. Hoffenheim is only with a theoretically chance of qualifying. It will also be interesting if Fenerbahce or Besiktas can join Galatasaray in the knockout stage. So what does my model say? Who will get in, who will not get in? Well, the expected standings say that it is the Turkish teams that go in, and Porto, Twente and Braga will just about miss out. Who will finish top? Of course, Lazio. Athletic Club just ahead of Eintracht, because Eintracht have to go to Rome. And yes, we know this means a whole lot for Roma as well. The sensation FCSB is scheduled to finish in top 8. That's a team that probably should have lost to Lask in Europa League qualifying. So, pretty big performance by them. However, with the expected standings, as I said, for the Conference League and also for the Champions League yesterday, it's probably best to also look a little bit at how this might pan out into the final bracket. And again, the same caveat. Each line, the teams can be changed around. This is how the draw will happen. But I made it now that, it goes by the numbers. And we see, for instance, that Lazio up top would face Ajax or Real Sociedad. They just beat Real Sociedad. I think they could do something against Ajax. But yeah, it's not a good reward of finishing top, whereas Athletic Club would face Midtjylland or Saint-Gilloise. I also find the Lyon Rangers PAOK part a rather interesting one, as well as United, Roma and Pilsen. There's a whole lot of flawed teams in there as well. But as I said, this gives us a good idea of how the bracket may look, but it may not, because the draw will all mess it up a little bit. And that's also a little bit exciting. I have to applaud UEFA for coming up with that idea. What we can say for sure, though, is who are the favorites? Well, we have 4 favorites. And it's pretty clear this is Lazio, because they're riding top. We have Athletic Club in there, and we have the 2 English teams in United and Spurs. And knowing how flawed these 2 teams are, especially in the Premier League, yes, I can see them go deep in the Europa League as well, but I also can see them eliminated by a team that has a plan of how to hurt them. So that makes it rather exciting. It's very level. And even the second tier, Frankfurt, Lyon, potentially Roma and Real Sociedad, and Galatasaray, I could see making a deeper run as well. So this is why I think the Europa League is probably the most exciting competition of them all, because it is wide open. If you look at the final matches, there are a few that do stick out a little bit. I mean, Ajax Galatasaray just for pure mayhem, and it actually means something because, Galatasaray will probably want to push for a top 8 spot potentially, whereas Ajax want to make sure that they might be seeded despite them relatively safe from elimination. Roma against Frankfurt, it's at least a must not lose for Roma. However, Frankfurt might already be pushing for the second spot to get a better seed. I think an underappreciated one will be FCSB against Manchester United. FCSB sitting in 8th at the moment, so that's actually a true top duel. Whereas Real Sociedad PAOK and Twente against Besiktas have a little bit more riding on them in the overall case, especially Twente against Besiktas seems to be an elimination game. So, those are my thoughts on what happened in the Europa League yesterday and, the 2 days before because of all the Istanbul craziness in there as well. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought about this round. The upset, especially by RFS, was not one that I did foresee. That Lazio are so clear on top of the table is also something that I did not really expect. And Roma on the brink of elimination, rather crazy. I'm at least happy to see PAOK turning it around, qualifying easily for the playoff most likely. In any case, share your thoughts below, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like these, and I will talk to you soon about more things in my soccer universe. Bye! Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!